What's he looking at me like that for? Oh! What's going on, legends? It's Pig on PC and 4K here with you. Today we're going to be talking about 8 tips for a successful solo raid in Ghosts of Tabor. As we all know, making it out of a raid in Ghosts of Tabor with a full bag of loot is one of the most exhilarating and amazing experiences in VR. But trying to make it out of a raid on your own can be harder than you think, which takes me to tip number 1. Patience. In a game like Ghosts of Tabor, patience is key. Rushing into situations can quickly lead to your demise, so it's important to take your time and approach each encounter carefully. This means being deliberate with your movements, scanning your surroundings before entering a new area, and taking advantage of cover whenever possible. If you don't exercise patience in this game, you risk getting caught off guard and losing it all. Tip number 2, prioritize loot. Knowing where the good loot is and prioritizing your looting can be the difference between success and failure in Ghosts of Tabor. You'll want to focus on finding the best weapons, gear, and armor early on, and in that order. Then continue to scavenge for the high dollar items. Missile Silo is my go-to for quick cash because it has 4 big ticket loot items, and sometimes they all spawn at once. The items I prioritize first are the Crypto Wallet and then the Skull. These are both easy to acquire and usually only involve taking down 2 to 3 Phoenix. Next, it's the Squeaky Door Loot Room for a graphics card or a hack tool. Many suppressors are a quick $10,000, so snag those as bonus points. Last stop should be straight down to check for the boss with the golden SKS. If you don't prioritize your looting, you may wind up with a few extra holes in your wallet the next time you're looting those filing cabinets. Tip number 3, no attachment issues. In Ghosts of Tabor, you can find all sorts of interesting items, but it's important to remember that everything is worthless if you're dead. If you're going into a solo raid, you need to be able to move quickly and efficiently, which means ditching anything that isn't absolutely necessary. Otherwise, you might just find yourself trying to carry a purple key card and an AR while dodging bullets on the military base. Just because you can take it all doesn't mean you should. So, be a good sport, leave some for the next guy, and don't look back. Trust me, you're not going to regret it when you get out alive. Unless, of course, you do get shot in the back, and then you might regret it a little bit. Tip number 4, play sneaky. In a game like Ghosts of Tabor, playing sneaky is a huge advantage. Try to be stealthy in your movements, and use the crouch button to your advantage to quickly duck down when taking blind corners. Stay moving and frequently check your 6. Be aware of the hotspots around you for places players could be entering or traveling from, and have your gun sway from the general area of where a player may appear to the next general area where a player may appear. This greatly reduces your reaction time and allows you to quickly alternate between sprinting and walking. When you are near another player, every footstep counts. Think twice before you step once. Listen for cues to your enemy's position, then position yourself behind cover in a way that allows you to neutralize the enemy while exposing a minimal amount of you. Always use cover whenever possible. Tip number 5, upgrade as you go. As you progress through the raid, you'll come across better gear that you can use to upgrade your loadout, whether you find it or take it. It's important to ditch your old gear and keep the higher tier loadout without worrying about the old gear, as this is going to give you a better chance of surviving encounters with other players. And other players can be bringing a lot more than just better guns. Higher tier armor and armor piercing rounds are both major factors you've got to account for in your playstyle and movements. If you don't upgrade your gear, you're not going to be haunting the battlefield for long. You might wind up sleeping with the fishes, or the ghosts in this case. Tip number 6, understand your weapons. In Ghosts of Tabor, different weapons and ammo types have different strengths and weaknesses. It's important to understand the nuances of each, so that you can maximize your damage output and be as effective as possible in combat. When you're first starting out, any weapon's better than no weapon, but once you start gearing up, knowing when you're holding a 7.62x51 G3A3 versus a 9mm Vector can mean the difference between a $100,000 bag and death. If you have a gun you really like using, take it back to your base, put the mag in the speed loader and find out what ammunition type it uses. If you feel natural with what you have, then hone your skills with that gun. If you find that you're just getting by with it, then switch out for a different weapon with a different ammunition type. And remember, you can always open up the black ammo boxes to load mags with armor-piercing rounds. That takes us directly into tip number 7, which is use the wiki. The Ghosts of Tabor wiki is a valuable resource that can provide in-depth details about keycard locations, boss spawns, weapons, and player spawns. It's important to use this resource to your advantage, as it can give you a leg up on players who may not have looked at this information. If I didn't study a few key points on that wiki, I'd have had no idea that when I spawn adjacent to the squeaky door room, I can simply walk out and look left for a free player kill 9 times out of 10. I'll link it in the description below, and please let me know in the comments if you think that it's useful and what you learned from it. If you don't use the wiki, you risk missing out on valuable loot and falling behind other players who have a better understanding of the game. Holy, you've made it all the way to tip number 8. Thank you so much for watching the video this far. You are helping me out beyond belief with the YouTube algorithm. I cannot thank you enough. Please let me know that you made it this far down in the comments by telling me what your favorite gun is in Ghosts of Tabor. Tip number 8, don't fight the boss. This is going to be one of those highly unpopular opinions, and believe me, I've thought about both sides here, the risk and the sweet reward. In Ghosts of Tabor, the boss is a formidable foe that can take a lot of effort to defeat. Even when I have a friend providing backup, a boss can take multiple 30-round 7.62 magazines to the head to eliminate. It's important to remember, you don't have to always fight the boss. I know the golden AK is great, but instead, try to avoid the boss if possible and focus on looting the key areas mentioned in tip number 2 for financial success. If you do choose to fight the boss, make sure you have a solid plan in place, just in case you're suddenly near dead, and you're fully prepared for this encounter. I mean, this means knowing your nearest exit, knowing the cover, having plenty of ammunition or ordnance, having health syringes and armor. Too many times I've thought I could handle eliminating the boss on my own after clearing a lobby, and sadly lost it all to a surprise shot in my head from 50 meters away. The boss doesn't play, and he doesn't skip training day. I have lost literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to the AI, and the boss is the most formidable. And there you have it, folks. Those are our top 8 tips for solo raiding in Ghosts of Tabor. With a little bit of patience, some strategic looting, and a whole lot of sneaking, you too will be well on your way to making it out alive and richer. Remember to upgrade your gear, stay up to date on the latest wiki intel, and most importantly, don't mess with the bosses. Happy looting and shooting, and I'll see you in the battlefield.